anything. But for there to be real progress, it needed the death of Ali Zigbegovic, Cole, it needed the death of Slobo, and it needed the death of Franco Tujman, who were all friends. Let me emphasize that I attended a good few meetings with Franco, with Ali, and with Slobo. They were friends, drinking that Slivovitz and all that, and talking, and laughing and giggling and that, but and thanks be to God that the war ended and that there is peace now within the community. And if we go under a NATO umbrella, that will never happen again. Yes, we have a Kosovo situation. We do have that situation which needs to be resolved. That's not for me to resolve it. That's for Alexander Vucic and for, Kosovo, the European Union. But my own personal view, for what it's worth, why have borders? There were parts of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia in the old days that were independent and autonomous regions within that. Maybe it's something that one should consider. Not for me to say, because it's not my business there. I've not been asked to deal with that there. But I do repudiate violence from both sides. That is something that has to stop. As Churchill used to say, we need to jaw, not war. And that's what my message to Vucic and to Kosovo and to, Eddie Rama. I'm going to meet Eddie Rama also. I have that, because the Albanians have been very, very good to me and have, you can talk, to the, and my own view is that my political party, Partito Nazionale Italiano, we do want Serbia, we want Montenegro, we want Albania, we want Kosovo. If you get them into the European Union, it doesn't matter anymore. The borders don't care because it's all one. It don't matter. It's irrelevant. That's how you get rid of your borders. You join a club. Then there is no more problem. If you're under a NATO umbrella, you can't be attacked. There is no problem. There is no war. We can't fight each other. You can't fight Kosovo. You can't fight Croatia. You can't fight Bosnia. You can't, because you're under a NATO umbrella. Can't do it. You have to resolve things peaceably. That's the answer, and that's what I've told, the European Commission's head. We need to bring Serbia, Albania, and Kosovo and Montenegro into the European Union immediately, whether they're ready or not. Jesus, you could bring some of the other countries. Romania was never ready, nor was Bulgaria, but they came in. Estonia, Lithuania, as my son said, they haven't even got a team in the Champions League, but they came in. Serbia has got Red Star, Partizan, and had Obilic. Not anymore, but, in my time, I took the club to the Champions League in Germany, and I met Beckenbauer, I met Rummenigge. We met with these people there with the utmost of respect. I dealt with the UEFA when they wanted to strike us because of Željko's participation in the club, even though Teta was the president. I met Jesus Hill, Atletico de Madrid. I did all of that there, took that club there and made it into a club. And people say Željko was threatening people. Crap. You can't threaten people. You can see if a game is fixed or not. Easy there. Željko was fighting even for a corner. Never mind about, anything else. His ideology, when I walked into Obilic Stadium, when we didn't have the new stadium, he said, Giovanni, read that notice there. Of course, it was in Cyrillic. I ain't got a bloody clue how to read, Latinic. Never mind about Cyrillic. I said, what the hell does it say, Željko? Oh, he said, yeah, you can't read that. It says, you must win. That was the order. You must win. But not with a gun to someone's head. None of that. That's nonsense. Total crap. Because I would have known about it and I would have had to be participant in it. And that never happened. It just simply did not happen. The people there were brilliant. Were there any transfers that were subject to review? Well, you can say that about Manchester City. You can say that about Man United. You can say about Luton. You can say that about Arsenal. Most of these, you can certainly say that about Juventus and some of the Italian clubs there. So nothing new there, but That's different from bribing people to win games, because it's impossible, and it did not happen. And I'm telling you that it did not happen. And anyone who says it did is a liar.
We hosted some Obilić former players during Arkan's era, and they said the same thing. You say he was it was like he was a father and they were kids, and he was very good father, fair father, honest father, and they got everything he promised to them. And the pressure was like in let's say in the area of sports, not like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of threats or something. Most of them, they had great careers worldwide, and some of them even took a place in Serbian national team.
They did. And there you have it there. Imagine that I'm taking the team to Bayern Munich and I'm going to bribe the Bayern Munich players to lose. I mean, just stupid. You know, where we did have a problem in Atletico de Madrid is that Ceca, wonderful woman, you know, I love her to pieces. She wanted to sit on the bench with me. Well, I mean, that had never been heard of. And she had, you know, a young baby with her. And therefore, there was a problem. I said, look, Ceca, these people are not going to play if you sit on the bench, and UEFA have ruled. So I spoke to UEFA and we had an agreement. She could sit on the bench, but she had to have her shirt up to her neck there, and no baby and no nothing. And that's how, again, the diplomacy of the devil's advocate had to come through there. Otherwise, there would be no game. They would have called the game up and we would have lost the game. But thinking about it now, she's the president of the club. I was president of Campobasso. I was also a director of Dundee. I sat on the bench. I sat in the bench of Campobasso many, many times. So it's a question of discrimination. Why should a woman not sit on the bench? You have female trainers now. We will live in a time, I'm telling you, but maybe not quite in my time. I'm 68 now and like time is limited. But certainly in my son's time, we will live in a time when there will be a female manager of a Premier League club who will be in that. There are male managers of female clubs. So why can't we have, you know, but of course, 1995 was a different situation. There we were like 30 years ago. They didn't quite see Ceca, the pop singer, beautiful woman, you know, there who was breastfeeding her baby, sitting on the bench with a low cuts. That was not going to, you know, to happen. But she's a wonderful person. As far as I'm concerned, she's always been very kind to me, very correct to me. And it's unfortunate what has happened. Her life has to move on. I respect that. You know, Anastasia's now is a grown girl there, and she's a singer with her mum, and you have to do the best you can. Of course, their father is always there in the background, even though he's no longer physically with us, and life has to move on. But they've never forgotten their father. She's never forgotten her husband, and she's had her own troubles. The state have caused her an enormous amount of aggravation with ridiculous allegations and house arrests and this, that, and the other, which was unfortunate. And I would invite, you know, any government to cease and desist on picking on widows or widowers in situation like that, because it's not appropriate there. Had I have been around there in Serbia, I would have obviously spoken to some people, because that's unfortunate. She had nothing to do with bribing people. She had nothing to do with illegal transfers. Ceca's a singer. She's a mother. No, she's not a football agent. She, you know, she's not stupid on money, but she definitely 100% never took any cash or anything underhand or anything like that. And nor did Jelka, and nor did I, and nor did Tope, and nor did any of the people there. We didn't do any of that at all. Rubbish, crap.
Can you tell us something about the clash between Arkan and Šešelj?
Yes, well, this all started, unfortunately, during the elections in the 90s there. I remember me and Jelko going to Banja Luka. We had a female president. I can't remember her name, though. We proposed her as president.
Biljana Plavšić.
Plavšić, yeah, there. And we got as far as the border there. And I didn't know until about half an hour later, but there were guns being pulled and everything. We had an Indian standoff. You know, I sort of I was in the front seat there. So I thought, this is going to end badly, especially for me. I didn't have I wasn't carrying an autocar at the time there, more's the pity. But even if I had, you know, there were machine pistols there, you know, you're just that. But things were resolved nicely. Sasha, Vuk, and Jelko, it was all dealt with. And they were Sheshel's people there. And we personally had nothing against the Radical Party there. I mean, Alexander Vucic was a member of the Radical Party. I met him many a times. He came to my office in Shumadia a couple of times as well. And he is a good boy. He is a good president. Probably should wear a tie more often when he meets people. But that's a matter of personal choice there. And there was a ideological difference between, but it did not extend to violence there. And Sheshel, fair play to him, surrendered himself at great cost. And I would not have advised that. But he did at great cost, for nothing. But Jelko had really no major disagreements with anyone, because he told me, he said, look, fighting a war costs you money and time and stops you making money. He's absolutely right. So we try to avoid conflicts and political conflicts, but the ideology of Stranka Srpska Jedinstva, of which I'm the foreign affairs spokesman, was the West. We wanted money. We wanted the West. Russia couldn't help us at the time. Maybe they can now. I don't know. We wanted to be friendly with Marshal Tito was friendly with everybody. The Serbian passport, the Yugoslav passport during Marshal Tito's time was the most expensive to forge. It was the most expensive to obtain unlawfully, because you could go anywhere without a visa. How much nicer it is to be friendly with people instead of at war. You can catch many more flies with honey than you can with vinegar.
That's for sure. So, what about the rumors regarding Mira Marković? As let's say, Šešelj said, Mira Marković, Slobodan Milošević's wife, she was a red witch. She dragged him to disaster. She was the voice of KGB, whispering at his ears, and he was making mistakes because of her.
Crap. Utter sranje in Serbian. That word I do know. Mira is a good woman. She was in love with her husband and he was in love with her. And the major criticism was why President Milosevic did not have a Ljubavnica, because everybody seemed to have one there, and the wives seemed to accept it. He did not. He was in love with his wife and she with him. They had ideological differences too, let me tell you. I know Marko, I know his son, I know Miri, his daughter. They were very, very kind towards me. They were very correct towards me. So was Mirjana Milosevic as well. She was very, very correct towards me. Now, what happens between closed doors and in the bedroom? Hell, I don't know. I wasn't there. We didn't have web cameras. Then did Slobo and his wife have differences? I know they had ideological differences because she was a staunch communist. He was a quasi-communist, but this communism ideology will always be there in Serbia for another 2 or 3 generations. You cannot wipe it out. The Russians have tried and cannot wipe it out. And in any case, let's just have a quick look at communism. what the hell is wrong with it? During Tito's time, everybody had an apartment, everybody had a job, and if you didn't have a job or we weren't studying, you were prosecuted for vita parasitaria, for being a parasite on the state.